Good morning, folks. It's time for Coffee and Football. This is Drive Time Football. This is Week 2, 1958, Game 3 today. So Detroit at Cleveland Browns. For those of you who don't know, I prefer, I won't say just quick play games, but I prefer either quick play games or games that can be finished in, say, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Games like Grid Zone, which I can finish in about 25 minutes. My app Boss Simple Solo, I can finish in about about 35 minutes, depending on whether I'm talking to a camera or not. If I'm not talking, I can knock out a full game. Second Season Express, things like that. So, and what I mean is, so quick game, when it's just rolling a score, that can lack a little drama and a little sense of doing anything other than dropping dice. But games like Game Winning Drive and, of course, my own games, I will never leave out my own games. But I mean, when I'm playing historical teams, right? Again, it would be other people's stuff. Game Winning Drive, family football, this. And there's a sense of ebb and flow, and there's a sense of a little more details. This particular version, because of that offense and defense incorporated, the red zone, it is done in 10 minutes, but it draws such sense that I'm seeing the two teams actually duking it out. So it's almost the perfect meld. Okay. Also, I want to thank Michael over at Family Football, as he produced every single decade and every single season in the history of pro football. But he also produced finders for who scores in his game. So I got this information. I did not do this work myself. This is from Family Football. I just don't own a printer, so I wrote it all down by hand. And I also used his data for kick returns and potential punt return touchdowns. So I will be adding potential kick and punt return touchdowns to this game, right? Using that information. Outside of that, it's just finders for who scores and rushing, passing, who kicks field goals and PATs, etc. Okay, so know that I'm adding a chance at punt and kick returns if teams actually have the chance, right? This is not part of his game. If a punt return or a kick return occur, they will actually count against the offensive possession, right? So that's how I can guarantee teams don't get too many touchdowns, right? We're going to count. So a defensive score does not count against you. But if I get a punt or a kick return for a touchdown, that's definitely an offensive possession, and it will move us on to the next possession. That's how I can make sure we don't get too much, right? Okay, now let's see what these two teams did in week 1. So Cleveland had to fight off a feisty Green Bay, and Cleveland managed to win that game by 6, 34-28 on the Star. Let's see here. Brown had the last touchdown. Star scored on a touchdown pass, and all that did was draw it to within 6, and that was the end of the game. But Cleveland, what I thought would have been a triumph opener, Green Bay fighting Cleveland, which is brilliant. Detroit manhandled Chicago. Bottom line is 31-14. All Detroit coming off back-to-back NFL championships. This team is primed to maybe three-peat. Also note, Plum threw 4 interceptions against Green Bay, which is a riot, because everyone knows that this is Jim Brown's team, and Milt Plum just gets to hand him the ball, right? No, Milt Plum was very effective. I'm making a joke there, but that was amazing that I rolled so many TD passes in that game. All right, so Detroit gets the ball first in this remarkable game, Drive Time Football, and Detroit does have a kick return. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if I roll a 62, Barr returns this for a touchdown, and we move on to Cleveland. 56. Nope, so we're going to play football as normal. Here we go. Detroit. It's going to be the Cleveland defense is going to rally here, 10, and it's going to force a punt against Detroit, who scored 31 in the week 1 opener. Cleveland and company. Milt Plum circles up the in the huddle and says, "Gentlemen, you know what we're doing. 21, dive right. Here we go." And it's going to be the defense. So Detroit already trying to bring down Jim Brown, and 11 they do on a 3rd and 8. They managed to force a punt, and Detroit now back in control. Again, let's double-check punt. So I did have a punt return chance, darn it, so I should have rolled that for Mitchell, just out of curiosity. No, 61. Is there a punt return chance here? Yep, Yell Larry could return the punt for a touchdown for Detroit. And 32 does not. I read them left to right, right? If you want to know how I'm reading those, since I don't have different colors, I'm left to right. All right, so no touchdown, punt return here. Here we go. Detroit back on offense, and it's going to be Detroit's offense, and it's going to be 6. Interception, excuse me. The interception is thrown by, now we're going to roll to see who threw the interception. Although it's a touchdown check, I like to see. 62 came in the game. Bobby Lane, or no, Morrill. Earl Morrill was in the ball game for some reason and threw an interception. So maybe Tobin Rote was out with a ding, and Morrill came in and they threw a pass and he threw a pick. That's very cool. And let's go ahead and check a return. If I return, which is here, interception return is 0 for Cleveland. So no chance at an interception return right there, right? All right, so we move on to Cleveland now on offense. And Cleveland is going to stay on offense. This should be good for Cleveland. 4 is red zone. Here it is, boys. And it's going to be, as they drive down, they get down to about the 18-yard line. 8 is a touchdown run. 4, let's find out. For 24 is Jim Brown. So Brown punches it in. Brown, TD run, and that is automatic. And their kicker is Groza. So Groza, P-A-T. It's automatic. And there we have it, folks. Cleveland draws first blood. All right, now we're getting into the extra drives. Let's go ahead and see if Detroit gets their extra drive. Detroit does get their extra drive. And let's do the kickoff, actually. Kickoff return, 62. 63. Wow, Barr must roll this baby out to about the 47, scaring the bejeebers out of Cleveland coaching staff as Barr brings the kick out so close to breaking it away. And Detroit comes back out. They're trying to rally the troops here. It's going to be their offense, 3. 3 is red zone. Detroit driving hard thanks to a short field on Barr kick return. Drives down inside the red zone at about the 14-yard line. Snake eyes. Oh, they have to line up to kick the field goal. And Detroit, unfortunately, is going to miss the field goal. By the way, let's see who misses that field goal. Who did they trot out there to miss it? 34, it's going to be Martin. So Martin misses the field goal. That's too bad from the red zone. And Detroit fans listening on the radio, because they might not see this on television, groan as they hear Martin misses wide right, right? Oh, my God. All right, so Cleveland automatically gets their next drive. And that's going to make Cleveland a dangerous football team. That means they automatically get 5 possessions per quarter, no matter what, which instantly makes them a bigger threat, especially when you roll offense, because it's going to be 8. 8 is a punt. Oh, they have to punt. Cleveland ends up punting. Do they have a punt return? Yes, they do. Yell Larry going into the second. And 65, again, Yell Larry has a good punt return, but not going to be enough. That's going to end the first. And folks, it's Jim Brown giving the hometown fans something to cheer about with a touchdown run. Groza with a PAT. Detroit did not return the punt for a touchdown. Detroit takes over, and it's going to be on the Cleveland defense, and it's going to be 6. Fumble. Pow! Who fumbles that ball? Let's roll. It's going to be a 12. It's going to be Gedman. So Gedman, fumble, lost. Oh my gosh, and Cleveland cannot return this for a touchdown. Lucky for Detroit, but Cleveland's going to have a short field. Let's see what they do with it. Nope, it's going to be the Detroit defense having to decide the fate. Picked off. Milt Plum? Who's picked off here? Yep, Milt Plum's picked off. Interception. Plum. Uh-oh, and this team has a chance to return it on a 3. Oh, 4, very close as Walker, zipping through traffic, rumbles down, getting close to Cleveland's into the field, into the red zone, and Detroit takes over on a Walker interception. Wow, fantastic. And I'm only going to record touchdowns, of course, on the, so we don't know who picked it off, but we know who could return it for a touchdown. All right, Detroit takes over. Oh, it's going to be the Cleveland D, which is really good. They only gave up 217 points in 58. 6. Fumble. Pow. Hit again. Who fumbled this? Oh, Gedman with another fumble. Gedman, fumble lost. If you can be the guy to get most of the TDs, you should also be the guy that gets most of the fumbles. So I'm not going to apologize for rolling the TD chart for fumbles. because that means he handled the ball more than other people in key situations. So why shouldn't he also be the guy who would fumble the ball? And again, there is no chance at a return for Cleveland. Cleveland's final, no, actually it's not. Cleveland is guaranteed their final possession. Here we go. Oh, it's going to be Detroit's defense as they take the ball. 9. Detroit's defense is red zone. Uh-oh, Cleveland bangs the block down to it about the 11-yard line. And 7 is a touchdown run for 61. It's going to be Plum. Oh, scramble, Plum. Scrambles for a TD. Touchdown. Extra point is guaranteed here for these guys. And folks, Cleveland has just put a double-digit lead up on Detroit. Detroit, do they get their final drive? Yes, they do. Do they have the time to pull it off? No, they do not. So Detroit technically won't get. So I'm just going to put Cleveland in here for the final. And then what I do here, instead of writing Detroit and making up a possession, they didn't have one. Cleveland's going to end up with the ball here. And Detroit, I'm just going to put end of half. Right? So Cleveland's going to get their final possession. This is huge for Cleveland. It's going to be that Detroit defense. And it is an 8. An 8 is punt. They're going to force a punt. So Cleveland punts. We are going to check a punt return here. If I roll a 61, Larry takes us back to the house. And no, 63, but Larry gets a lot done. And the gun sounds as they get up, hoping they can scramble the offense out there for a field goal. Not going to happen. And there it is, folks. Wow. Plum scrambles for the second rushing touchdown for Cleveland. It is 14-0 at halftime. And that's what I expect from this Cleveland team. Running touchdowns, controlling the game, slowing down this Detroit offense. Again, Detroit scored only 261. Cleveland gave up 217, and they were a 9-3 team versus a 4-7-1 team coming up. This team suffered injuries, age. They had been a powerhouse for a decade. All right, Detroit gets the ball to start second, and there is a kick return chance. If I roll a 62, that's their possession. And it's going to be a 65. So again, if you can imagine in your mind, Barr getting great kick returns, right? Setting up chances for the Detroit offense. And yes, the Detroit offense is going to get 9. 9 is a red zone attempt. So Bobby Lane and company, that's right, Bobby Lane doesn't play for these guys. Oh yeah, he does. He does. He's on the bench here. So we're driving the ball. We're into the red zone at about the 4-yard line. 3 is touchdown run. Who punches it in? It's going to be 34. Gedman finally makes up for his fumbles. Gedman with a TD run. Extra point is going to be good, but who kicks it is 63. Perry comes off the bench, and he gets the PAT chance. And folks, Detroit has cut the lead in half. Gedman finally answers for 2 of his fumbles in this game. And again, Bobby Mitchell has a kick return. So if I roll a 62, then I'll roll to see who. Mitchell and Bolden both had kick returns. No, not even close. That's a bad return. You know, maybe out to the 12 or something. Cleveland has a long field to go here. Oh, and the defense is going to dictate things. 5 is fumble. Uh-oh. Who fumbled? Oh, 63. Oh, Carpenter gets a rare carry. Carpenter, and he fumbles the ball away. Jim Brown trots back over to the sidelines going, this is why you give me the ball, Captain. Holy cow. And they do have a fumble return. They do not. So Detroit takes over here in the third. Down by 7. Just took the ball away from Carpenter. It's going to be on the Cleveland defense. Detroit driving. 9 on the Cleveland defense. Is red zone. Uh-oh. Detroit works its offense down into the Cleveland red zone. They're threatening. And that threat ends in 10. Oh, a missed field goal for Perry. So missed field goal, Perry. So they let him come in after Martin missed the field goal. That makes complete narrative sense. Martin must have maybe hurt himself, or maybe the coach lost faith in him. Perry gets the extra point, so they send Perry out for this chip shot, and then he misses wide left, and the Cleveland fans roar as Detroit has left 6 points on the field today in a tough game. Cleveland's next possession, offense, 10. 10 is punt. Dang. And there is a punt return chance here for Yo Larry. A 61, he takes it back to the house. No, 12. It's going to be a fair catch, right? All right, Detroit has to roll for their extra drive here. It's going to be 4. They do get their extra drive, so Detroit in the third quarter manages to save some time here. We know Cleveland automatically going to get theirs. All right, here we go, Detroit. Detroit's on the offense. They're going to roll a 6. 6 is red zone for Detroit. They drive down. It's a chance for them to tie this ball game, folks. 5 missed a field goal. Made the field goal. Who did they send out here to kick the field goal? 33 is Martin. So they send Martin back out, and he gets the field goal. Maybe this was a longer field goal, so they send the one guy out with a big leg. We see the other guy for short field goals. I don't know. Doesn't make any difference. Detroit has managed to score 7 or 10 in this quarter. Cleveland gets their final drive automatically. It's going to be their offense, and it's a 6. 6 is red zone. Cleveland drives down on this Detroit defense, which is not great. They're not horrible, but they're not great. 7 is touchdown run. Guess who? And it's going to be Jimmy Brown. Brown punches it in. Run TD. Extra point by Groza. And folks, we got 10 for Detroit. They tried to close the gap, but Cleveland too much. 21-10 going into the fourth quarter. And of course, Cleveland will get the ball first because I personally love this sense of drama in a comeback bid. And we know that Cleveland, let's see here, 1, 2, wait a second. Uh-oh, did I do this? Am I too short? 2, 3, 4, and then their third possession they have to roll for, right? Oh my God, did I do the rolls wrong? No, I'm doing it right. Whoa, and we know Cleveland's going to get their last possession no matter what, so I'm going to go ahead and XD it, but then we don't know if they will. They could run out of time on their end, but all right, Cleveland, Brown just scored a touchdown. Let's roll for Detroit just for the hell of it on a kickoff return. 62. 61, wow, bar again, very close, but that will have to be resolved on the next roll as Cleveland. I want to see Cleveland with the first roll in the fourth. Remember this, it's abstracted. We're just looking at drama here. So Cleveland on this drive is going to be offense 6, which is red zone. What are they going to do? 10, missed field goal. Oh, Groza misses a field goal. All right, Detroit missed that touchdown return, kick return touchdown at halftime. So let's just go ahead now and roll their offense for that drive. 11. 11 is punt. So they're forced to punt. Cleveland with a punt return? They do. No, they don't have a punt. Yeah, they do. 61. Mitchell can take this back to the house. And I read it left to right. 51. So that's a good return. It's probably average. Right? And now Cleveland, these final possessions. Looks like Cleveland's got this one, but we're going to play it out. 3. It's going to be 4. 4 is red zone. Oh, Cleveland is now taking advantage of a beat-up old Detroit offense in the fourth. 9 is TD pass. Wow, who throws it? 61, Milt Plum, still the man. That's his 5th TD pass of the year. Wow. Plum, TD pass, 2, 35, 2 Renfro, baby. And the Groza PAT, good. And folks, that's just about going to put this game away. Detroit with a kick return. 56, good return, not enough. And here we go, Detroit's drive here in the fourth, trying to make it respectable. Their offense takes control on this drive, and they're going to end up leading to a punt. And can Mitchell return this punt for a touchdown? 25, no touchdown return, and Cleveland does get this final possession. We're in extra drives now. Let's roll to see if Cleveland actually gets it. Yeah, they're going to get that extra drive. And it's their offense again, and they are tough. 4 is red zone. Oh, my God. Cleveland's going to run it up. Make sure there's no comeback here. Field goal, and that's Groza. There's only one guy. Groza, wow. And now Detroit, do they get their last drive? They do. And no end of game. So here we go. Detroit final drive to make this respectable. But the Cleveland defense steps up 5 and picks it off. They pick off 31. Tobin wrote. So Detroit wrote, intercepted. They do not have a return for a touchdown. And that's how the game's going to end, folks, right there. Holy cow. Fourth quarter was Plum with a touchdown pass. Groza with a touchdown. So 10 more for Cleveland. Detroit manages a punt, and they're picked off on a late Hail Mary. Detroit 10 and 31 for Cleveland. Cleveland climbs to 2-0. Detroit now 1-1. As we find out that maybe Detroit with their injuries and their age, maybe they won't have a three-peat in their future. That was beautiful. This is Drive Time Football. Coffee, I didn't have a chance. I'm so involved, I didn't even drink any coffee. Detroit Tim, Cleveland 31. I've got a notebook for my entire 1958 league realignment and full schedule made using John M. Stater football to make my 14-week schedule for my 58 play. And that means I have a unique schedule, but I'm using real-life team cards from Drive Through So check it out. I'm using 3 brilliant tabletop football games for this. John M. Stater for the schedule, family football for the finders, and the kick and punt return chances for touchdowns. And of course, I'm using Drive Time Football to play out the actual game. So this is what I love about our community. All of these games, and we can borrow and use things from those games to make a full experience occur. Thank you for watching. Everybody out there, enjoy what you do, love what you do, and I'll check you back later. Bye-bye.